Let's take a look at servicing the regulator in the Planet Eclipse CS2 and also some possible culprits for any kind of regulator leaks or issues you might have. Um, and really some O-rings that you could replace as just part of standard maintenance. So as you go to unscrew this regulator, of this ASA really, it's going to have these two super long stainless steel screws that are screwing into this body. And this spring is pretty hardcore. It's going to want to push up against this ASA the entire time you're unscrewing these. So make sure you're putting some back pressure on this ASA with your thumb as you unscrew those screws. But once you get it out, this piece will slide out easy. This spring will come out, and more than likely, this piston is not going to want to just flop out of the gun itself. So one thing that you're going to want to do is grab it very carefully. Don't just go in there with a pair of needle nose pliers and rip this sucker out, because you're going to mar this stem up. And the problem with that is that there's an O-ring that stem seals with in here. And actually, that's one of the ones that you could replace or think about replacing if you have any of like regulator issues or leak issues. And the other one is the one on the end of this piston. And the reason being is because those are the two that are doing most of the work, back and forth motion, as the gun cycles and the regulator works. One of the other bigger culprits is going to be within here. So this should be hand tight, but there's a variety of different ways you can get this off. The way it's designed is to slide a Allen key across here to use and torque. But we're going to unscrew this, and it's going to expose kind of the regulator guts, and we can unscrew the regulator seat itself. That's going to give us this seat right here. Now this seat is hitting the face of this piston. And if you get debris or anything else on this seat, it can mar it up, and then it won't seal against the face of this. So replacing this reg seat is, I wouldn't say like preventative maintenance, like something you're going to want to do consistently, but maybe at the end of each season. It's not going to hurt. It's a pretty cheap piece or part that you can get that's going to save you a lot of headache if you just replace it each time you go into a season. And the same thing with this O-ring here and this piston O-ring here. Especially if you're going to use a material that's more suited for dynamic applications, that's going to help it last a little bit longer as well. So pretty easy to take this apart to service. To clean, you're just going to wipe the old grease off here, the piston itself, this O-ring, and then re-lube it all up, slide it all back together, and put it back in the gun. One thing though, don't get any grease on this seat. Try and keep it as dry as possible, and that'll keep this seal effective as well. So really pretty easy, pretty standard regulator design, but this is how you would get in there and service the different pieces for the Planet Eclipse CS2 regulator.